Hey everyone, this is Maddie, one of the naturalists here at Gulf Branch Nature Center, bringing you this week's 5-Minute Find. Today we're going to take a closer look at some eggs, but they're probably not the eggs that you think they are. Let's go over to the pond and take a closer look. So the soil is pretty damp today because of the rain we had earlier in the week and because we're right next to the pond here. That means it's a good day to turn over some of these logs and see what's going on underneath. If we turn over some of these logs, we can see the eggs that I was talking about. These are clusters of slug and snail eggs. Let's bring a few indoors where we can take a closer look with a better quality camera. Now that we're inside, we can take a closer look at the slug and snail eggs that I brought indoors. You can see the clusters here in the soil. Unlike bird eggs, slug and snail eggs don't have a hard outer shell. However, they do have a squishy and protective outer coating. Without this hard outer shell, though, it's easier for them to dry out, so it's important they're laid in damp areas like the one that we found outdoors. In ideal conditions, slug and snail eggs take about 1 month to hatch, so these were probably laid within the last 30 to 45 days or so. In less ideal conditions, they can stay in their egg stage for a little bit longer, but again, can never get too dried out. Most slugs and snails are hermaphroditic, which means they have both male and female reproductive parts. However, they do typically mate with other slugs and snails, with one partner being the male and one partner being the female. This promotes diversity and well-being in their offspring. Some slug and snail mating rituals are quite complex, like we're seeing here with our leopard slugs. After mating, a slug or snail typically lays a few hundred eggs. Some slugs and snails lay eggs individually, while others lay eggs in clusters like we're seeing here, from 2 to 25 to 40 eggs in a cluster. Larger slugs and snails have larger eggs, and the color can vary a bit between species, so we probably have 2 different species here. As you can see, this cluster here is much more yellow, and the cluster that's above it is much more translucent or transparent. There's no way to tell for sure if these are slug or snail eggs without being able to look and see if shells are developing on the tiny organisms growing inside. However, slug eggs are almost always translucent or transparent, so it's possible that these are our slug eggs and these are our snail eggs. However, we can't say for sure. There are a few land snail species that have a hard outer coating on their eggs, but we don't have that here today. There are at least 523 known species of land slugs and snails that live in the eastern United States. Of these, about 60 or so have been found in the Washington, D.C. region. A few common species include the gray garden slug that's pictured here, as well as the leopard slug. Both of these species of slugs are introduced and originated in other areas of the world. We also have globose dome snails, Atlantic three-tooth snails, and the quick gloss snail, who's pictured here, among many other species of slugs and snails. Although slugs and snails can be pests in our vegetable gardens, most species eat a variety of plant material and fungi and are true generalists, making the most of whatever they can find, like this slug pictured here eating a mushroom found in Rock Creek Park by photographer Katja Schultz. Slugs and snails will even eat dead or decaying plant and animal matter, and some snails can even be found munching on animal poop. We can include slugs and snails in that great group of organisms that does the tough work of breaking down dead stuff into soil and small components, completing the cycle of nutrients that makes a forest and our gardens healthy. Slugs and snails are also a great source of food for larger animals, including the reptiles, amphibians, birds, and mammals that share our neighborhoods. Hopefully, I've given you a little bit more of an appreciation for slugs and snails today. The next time you find them in your yard or garden, I hope you think twice before you remove them or try to get rid of them in some way. They have an important job to do, so it's always best to leave them if you can. Thanks so much for joining me for today's 5-Minute Find, and hopefully we'll see you again next week.